Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. So, there's nothing huge in this one, just a couple of quick updates on stuff that I've missed over the last couple of days, and some reminders about upcoming release dates. So, we'll start off with I Am Aang, which is out next week, May 2nd, so that's next Tuesday. It's like a week from today. This book is coming out. Again, this is the book for kind of like young readers for kids, but it's got all new art. It's only 24 pages. It only costs like $6 wherever you get it from. It's got new art by an artist called Bao Lu. The preview pages have been out for a while now. I think most people have been somewhat impressed by it, and especially it being a somewhat cheap book, I'm excited to see how they do sort of like the rest of the story. Like, how much of the story did they tell in this book? Like, we have like up to about like 6 pages here covering mostly like early stuff, but like, do they go into like, you know, the end and Aang like fully succeeding? Or are they leaving stuff open to maybe do another book? Like, maybe they'll do a Zuko book or something like that. There's definitely some room to do something with if required. My copy is on the way. I'm expecting it probably in or around the release date. There's a chance it maybe arrives later this week. I'll do a video as soon as I can, so look out for that. It shouldn't be a particularly long video, but you know, I actually do want to do a little bit of coverage on this one because I'm excited to see the rest of the art. So there's that. Again, Legacy of Yang Chen, in case you happen to miss it, is out July 18th, of course. So not that long to wait on this one. We should probably next month be getting a preview chapter if this goes the way things kind of like, you know, typically go on that sort of stuff. August 8th is the Imbalance Omnibus edition. Azula in the Spirit Temple is the 26th of September. Just a quick note on Azula in the Spirit Temple. It has only just gone up on the Dark Horse website. Now, they've had a news post about it for a while, but in terms of an actual listing for the book, it's only just gone up as of the last day or two. The reason behind that is because what this is the solicitations for that are released in April. They are called the July 2023 solicits. Now, you might be immediately very confused about, like, wait, this is an article published in April, so July solicits come out in April, but there's a book that's out in September in them. And this is where it gets very complicated when you talk about this stuff. But the idea is it's called July Solicits because that's when July single issues for comics come out. But in terms of graphic novels, it's the September graphic novels, because obviously there's a bigger lead time on graphic novels compared to the single issues. That's just why it's done this way. But it highlights that Azula in the Spirit Temple has been announced, like, officially to us kind of well ahead of its release, because, you know, a September release this year, it's still quite a bit away. Like, we've been waiting for this book for so long, and it's still quite a bit off, and it's only just been officially solicited for comic stores as of this month's solicitations. So for anyone wondering about like what's going on with the Mako comic on the Legend of Korra comic side of things, it obviously hasn't been officially announced yet. But if it's to hit 2023, what it means is that we have to get it within the solicitations for comics, basically next month, the month afterwards, or the month after that. Because if there's September graphic novels here, that only leaves October, November, December solicit, so the next 3 months for it to hit. Meaning that if we probably don't have the Mako comic announced by July, it's probably not coming out in 2023. So do keep that in mind. We're sort of expecting, if it's to hit 2023, an announcement in the next 3 months. Otherwise, it'll get announced whenever it gets announced. Do keep in mind the Azula comic was delayed. It was originally meant to be summer, but obviously late September is not summer, of course. So there's that also. Don't forget, Free Comic Book Day is also next week. So May 6th, so it's not this upcoming Saturday, it's the one afterwards, is Free Comic Book Day, and there is an Avatar comic. It's part of the Star Wars comic. Star Wars will be on the cover, High Republic specifically, but also you can see Avatar logo down here. And again, the description of the ATLA story, which will be Toph focused. So do keep an eye out for that, and I will have a review of this the day of Free Comic Book Day. So do keep that in mind. And then quickly coming over some of the final things. The 2024 calendar is 3rd of October. And then this is a new piece of news. This product we've seen before already. I've covered this already. So the Kyoshi novel and Yang Chen novel box set, all 4 books in one, is a 17th of October release date. But the exclusive thing here, it says that it has an exclusive bonus poster with character illustrations, and we didn't know what it was. Now, there's been an update, and we have what that poster actually is. So here it is. And I think there's a little bit of relief for me that, like, it's just that. I don't need this. If that's all it is, and there's no second side with new stuff on it, I don't need this. But this is the bonus poster. It says it right down here. It's just Rise of Kyoshi cover image, Dawn of Yang Chen cover image, relatively nicely edited together. I like the element symbols on the corners. It makes for a nice poster, and it'd be a nice poster to have, but I don't want to buy an $80 box set of book that I already have to get this. And I'm glad it isn't anything super new, that it's just a bonus for basically new people getting into the books who want to buy this set overall. So I'm actually quite glad it isn't anything new. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, this could be a little bit better. You know, even the box, you know, it's also using similar art. And by the looks of the cover, they're actually, in this case, using the Dawn of Yang Chen and Rise of Kyoshi, but the poster is using Shadow of Kyoshi. So that's a little bit of a weird change up. Like, you know, come on, get some new art for these things. It's a little bit like that. One of the newer books that I covered in my last news update, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Heart of a Hero, 27th of February 2024, 40 pages. This is going to be basically like I Am Aang, just, I guess, with more page count. You can see the art style also looks like somewhat similar, so that'll be interesting. I'm guessing there'll maybe be a little bit more text in this one, so I'm interested to see what the preview pages for this one actually are like. It's also going to be a bit of a bigger book. You can see the shape of it is a bit different as well, so that's somewhat interesting there. They're leaning a little bit more into the kind of young readers, and I think the right way to do it, of just like books that you can give to younger kids. Maybe they're not quite ready to watch the show, especially where it maybe gets to in season 2 and 3. This seems like a good way to introduce Avatar to kids. And then the last thing on the schedule at the moment is Rise of Kyoshi, but also Shadow of Kyoshi paperback version, because like it's crazy there hasn't been a paperback version of these books in all these years. Both are basically still and have been scheduled for like March 2024 for quite a while. We'll see if they actually stick to that or not. So that's going to be an interesting one. Last piece of news before we get into like some Avatar Generations kind of speculation and discussion is Avatar Journey of Aang. Now what this is the Avatar board game that we were talking about more towards the middle of last year. Now, it was previously known as like the Avatar, like The Last Airbender adventure board game. I think I have the image just here. This is the main picture we had for it. It's a small image, which is why it's kind of pixelated, even blown up at this size. But you can see the idea of it. More of an actual board game here, not just a role-playing game. Big board map with the different locations, lots of different cards here. You can see some character cards, some dice, tokens and stuff like that. I think there's some potential here for sure. So this kind of disappeared for a while last year, completely fell off a lot of people's radar. The website that initially was up went down, only recently went back up. You can see they're asking for email notifications once again. It is coming to Kickstarter, so do keep that in mind. There will be a campaign at some point. I probably wouldn't be expecting it for quite a few months. I do think this will probably be more of an end of year type thing. I think there's been some delays with the company because they have a previous Kickstarter that they're working on, and I think the kind of founder of the company passed away suddenly in the middle of last year, which caused a lot of issues for them, and I think they're trying to get back on track. But you know, the main thing here is like they've changed the name. They seem to have a proper title now, Avatar Journey of Aang, which I actually quite like to differentiate the board game from everything else. It's quite nice. The art here is pretty good. So yeah, it depends on a lot depends on the price. What the final like version of everything actually looks like, what the stretch goals are going to be, you know, like will there be like a core expansion for this game, that sort of stuff. Because I could see this being somewhat interesting and just a properly unique Avatar game, I'm kind of up for that if the price is right. So there's that. And then, yes, let's talk about the Rise of Kyoshi update again. So we'll go back to the patch notes. Even though we've talked about this quite a bit, it's important to remember that we're getting the first, like, the next part of this expansion, starting with the next summon banner later on today. So you can see here, it lists the summon banners that are coming. We already have this one. This is the one that has Rangi, young Kyoshi, and then full-on Avatar Kyoshi in it. So that's the one that's going to be running over the course of the entire event. When we get the new banner later on today, this one won't go away. But we are getting all these other ones. So the banner coming later on today is a powerful opponent banner. This is the one that uses the green tickets. These are the ones where it's typically a game original character that you only have to put in 10 of those tickets and you get the character. So it's relatively easy to grind for like a full power version of these characters, in the sense that, like, if you're lucky, you can get it in like under 60 green tickets. You'll have like a full power, version of the character. So that's always sort of good to have, because, especially some of the 5-star characters and the other ones, it's very difficult to get them up to full level unless you're putting a lot of money into the game. Now, it doesn't say timelines here, but will it? I don't really know. We're assuming this will all be Kyoshi themed here, because it's all under Rise of Kyoshi event banner stuff. And look, there'll be new challenges added, so there'll be more sources of those tickets, so don't worry if you don't have any. I think I'm heading in with like 4 of those tickets, so I'm not super set up myself, but a little bit ahead of the game. What character is this going to be? If it's not Kyoshi era, I'm assuming it will be Masaru, who's the firebender new character from the Aang era, but I'd be surprised if he is the character that's going to be here. If it is Kyoshi era, I know there's been some speculation that it might be Tagaka, but because all the other powerful opponent banners have been game original characters, I'm assuming they will use the one game original Kyoshi era character, which is this guy, who you've probably fought a few times if you played the game. So this is Talarik Tug. I don't know how to pronounce the name. I don't think they say it in the game, but this is basically the other named Fifth Nation character. Seems to roughly be Tagaka's lieutenant. He's exceptionally loyal to her if you play through the kind of additional kind of story content in the game. And as you can see here, he's a defense character. He's got all the different traits, pirate, rebel, all this stuff. He has the Kyoshi era symbol and so on. And you can see he has the full ability lineup and stuff like that. He is a waterbender. He seems perfect for this, because this is a character who is not in the novels. This guy is not named in the novels. This is a completely kind of technically newly revealed or detailed character in this game expansion. And it fits exactly what powerful opponent banners have typically been. Now, the question is ultimately going to be, is he just here to add some flavor, or will they just give us Tagaka? I'm not really sure. I think there's still a chance it might be Tagaka, but I think they'll probably ultimately hold her back, especially because she has her own level 6 kind of boss mode thing in the pirate domain, and she was the villain of this part of the story. I would be a little surprised if they did just kind of almost give her away to you for the 10 tickets. So I think they will just give us this guy. But I think it's cool that we do get these kind of new and unique characters. So assuming that's the case, what are we doing then for the remaining banners? Because we've got 2 timeline banners, one the week after, one the week after that. And then we end with a Peace Chaos banner for the final week of the event. So what I've heard, I suppose characters left. So Yoon, we know, we've seen him in the game, you've played as him a little bit. Tagaka, again, you get to play as her for a tiny little bit. She's in the game as a boss. Those 2 are very clear. We still need a chance to get those characters. But also, Heiran, Jeonju, and Kelsong. They're the other 3 characters as well. And so far in the game, I don't think we know anything about them. Now, I believe there's been some information on the Discord where people seem to have done a little bit of data mining and found out a little bit of information about these characters. If it's true, the information seems to suggest that Kelsong will be a peace character, Jeonju will be a chaos character, and Heiran will be a defense character. So that would mean the Peace Chaos banner at the end would have the two Peace Chaos characters, so Kelsang and Jeonju. Makes complete sense. That would be a very hyped banner because I think a lot of people are excited to get those two characters in particular in the game. And especially because, remember, the update has changed Peace Chaos to 200 pity. So it makes it just a little bit easier to get them. It was 300 before, so this makes it a lot more doable, I think. And for two quite hyped characters, like especially like Peace Kelsang, if they have good abilities for him, that sounds incredible. And then the whatever way they use Jeonju, I think could be super, super interesting. So there's that. Then, so how do they distribute the other characters then? Because that leaves us with Heiran, Yoon, and Tagaka across 3 banners. What way do they do it? And then, like, do they incorporate any of the previous characters, like, into this in, like, a rate up event? Because there's a chance to do that for characters. Like, if you do an Earth rate up event, you could have Yoon and Avatar Kyoshi. If you do a Fire one, you could have it be Rangi and Heiran, which would be, like, cool to have the kind of, like, daughter-mother kind of banner. But it does leave Tagaka a little bit kind of out on her own, which probably makes it feel like at least one of these, I'm guessing, will have to be like Yoon and Tagaka or Heiran and Tagaka, which almost maybe leads me to believe that, like, might it be slightly easier if the powerful opponent is Tagaka? That way the timeline banners otherwise can be, you know, someone else. I'm not sure. That is where it does get to be like a little bit kind of complicated, because I almost feel like Yoon should have just been part of the main banner, just to give you the opportunity to get some more different, like, unique characters throughout the entire event. And then it might have worked out a little bit better to just give you, like, the kind of almost like simplicity of just Tagaka banner, Heiran banner, leading into the final big one, Kelsang Jeonju. So I think that's probably the way it's going to work out. So Talaric Tug here. I'm assuming they won't do Fifth Nation again the following week. So let's say Yoon banner with, like, did they do Yoon and Heiran, Yoon and Tagaka? I'm not sure, but I'm gonna roughly predict Yoon here. I'm gonna say Heiran here, and then obviously we know pretty much Kelsang and Jeonju here. The question probably is just, like, where do they place Tagaka in either of these two banners and all that sort of stuff. So let me know what you think about all that. Which characters are you excited for? But yeah, that's basically been all of the news. Like, I wish there was more to talk about. Like the live action stuff has kind of come to a halt. I believe there's been some news. Like, I think they put out, like, the writers or directors for each of the episodes of the show. But I'm very much at the point with the live action show where I'm just like, at this stage, you need to show me something. I don't really care about all these, like, other smaller, like, updates of, like, this person's involved, that person's involved. This late in the game, I feel I just need to see what this show is. And that's where we're at with that for me. So yeah, in the comments, let me know what your thoughts were on all this news that I covered here today. All the sort of little bits and pieces, release dates coming up, a little bit of an update on the box set for the Kyoshi and Yang Chen box. The board game information seems to be maybe coming back. And then progress being made here with the Kyoshi update. But yeah, let me know what you think below. But that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.